Hi, everyone. It's MJ, and this is my very first live, so very interesting. And I'm just trying to figure out exactly how it actually works. So bear with me today. Um, it's nice and early in the morning, and I got my nice little coffee cup, which is my favorite one. Well, actually, it's not my favorite one, it's my second favorite one. And if you're out there watching, say hi to me in the comments. I'd love to start a chat with you. But today, I wanted to welcome you guys in to my space that I'm going to be doing every Saturday morning. Just aside from the Returned podcast, um, where it can get a little bit dark and heavy, I wanted it to be a little bit more light and safe, fluffy. And because I do my best work in the morning, and where I am located is in Canada, British Columbia. So I decided that I would actually just relax with my tea and get started. Um, but yeah, so I'm really grateful for all of you that are actually here. Um, if you want to say hello, please do. Um, but I am going to probably have to put my glasses on now because, I can't see without my glasses. So, and I'm sorry about the glare on them because I normally don't wear them on the podcast. But I'll have to read chat. So I thought that it would be a really good way of being able to see everything someone might have to say. So thank you very much. If you're here today, I'm MJ and I am the host of the Returned podcast. And there we talk about near-death stories, out-of-body experiences, signs from spirit, everything to do with consciousness and out-of-body or the other side or pretty much transitioning, end of life. But today, I wanted to keep it kind of light. And since this is my first podcast and I absolutely do not know what I'm doing, or sorry, my first live stream, I should say, I absolutely don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to do my best to navigate this. Um, and I can actually see so clearly. So when I'm actually on the Returned podcast, when I'm doing my pre-recorded, I'm not wearing glasses. So I don't really have to read too much or see. So it's a lot easier for me. However, if someone writes something in the chat, then I'm not going to be able to actually read it. So, but anyways, today I wanted to talk to you about a couple different things. So, being that this is what I would like to have for Saturday mornings, I wanted to make it where people could just come and hang out with me and chat and get to know me, and I get to know you, and we talk about everything that we can think of under the sun, love, life, and spirit. So if you're here today, thank you. And if you're watching this on the replay, thank you. And I'm really happy to finally have started this up. I think it's an important way to build relationships with people. And just so you can get to know me also outside of just watching me on my podcast. So, having said that, today I wanted to talk about signs from spirit and how you really know if you've got a sign, if you've had a sign from someone who's passed over. And so, in my experience, I've had many things actually um, show me a way. So, basically, um, I've had anywhere from someone standing in front of me in their translucent form, or I've had it where I've had songs being played and I've had people touching me. I get this actually quite often because, well, I don't know why, but it's because the fact that I have been like this since I was a really young girl. And hence that's where the Return podcast came from. So but if you're out there watching and you want to say hi, please drop a hi in the comment box. I'd love to hear from you and where you're actually watching from. So, but in truth, a lot of signs from spirit can come and we won't even know that we're actually having sign from spirit. So some more common ones are feathers. You'll see feathers left for you in different places, unexpected places. Also, another thing is pennies. You'll see pennies dropped or dimes or anything that might actually relate to your loved one that actually has crossed over. A lot of times you'll hear them, well, I hear them talking a lot of the times. I have dreams of them. You may have that too. A lot of people ask about that. How do I know for sure? Well, one way to know for sure is, when you're driving in the car and you're actually thinking about a question in your head or something, and then all of a sudden a song comes on the radio and you literally just kind of get the answer to that song. So that's kind of like how it works for me. And I do and have heard other people say that they've had the same type of thing happen to them. But once you start paying attention to the signs, you might see them come more clearly. Now, I wrote myself some little notes here because I thought it might be helpful for myself since this is my first time and I'm nervous as heck, if you can believe it. I am very, very nervous. It is way different than doing my pre-recorded podcast. So I'm really hoping that I can get used to doing this and I will be doing this, so I will get used to it. So every single Saturday, you'll find me here. Come hang out with me at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And from there, we'll just grow and learn and talk and chat. And I have tea. Maybe you have coffee, but I'm a tea drinker. So on go my eyes again. So as I said to you before, we have feathers. Feathers. When you find feathers in unusual places, signs of usually protection or a loved one is near. When you find feathers in unusual places. Another one I often see is repeated numbers. So I had someone pass away, and from the moment that they actually passed on, I started to see the number 721. And the number 721 makes me feel like they're around. I don't know why, and I don't even know the actual relationship to the number 721. But every time 721 comes on, I always say hello to them. Or when I see it, anytime I see it on my watch, on my clock, it just reminds me of them. So I just give them a little hello. Another one that you could always talk or think about is butterflies, birds, animals. Actually, when my stepfather passed away, my mom was surrounded by deers, like her house. It was very interesting. Like I was in her kitchen, and she's got a window out to the backyard. And she lives up against kind of like a mountain, but she does have like a little flat yard type area. And this is not just one day, but the one day that I actually seen it, they all came down. There was 6 of them, and they all went from one end of my mom's house all the way to the other, and they went like in a circle. So they were literally um, sitting there, and I don't know what they were doing, but I know that when I was looking out the window, they were staring straight at me. And I took that as a sign. And she has told me that since my stepdad had passed away, she had been seeing these deer do this on a daily. So that is one of the signs. So you've got feathers, animals, dimes, nickels, pennies, birds, repeating numbers, dreams. Dreams are a big one. So when your loved one visits you in spirit, from spirit, it is, or sorry, in spirit, in your dreams, I take that as personally, I take that as the number one way spirits usually connect with you. Now, over the years and the people that I've had pass on with me, they have, a lot of them visited in dreams. So I can go way back and think about all the people that I've actually lost, and I ended up seeing them in dreams. So they're very, you'll know the difference too, is because they are very lucid. And a lot of the times they tell you things when they're in the dream with you. Have you ever had someone visit you that has passed on in a dream before? If you have, then leave me a note in the comments. That would be cool to know how many of you have had that happen. If you're watching on the replay, please do. That's good. So my favorite thing to drink is tea. I drink tea all day, but I drink decaffeinated tea. So if I drink the caffeine, it causes me anxiety. So I'm a little bit nervous being here today. This is so difficult for me, but I'm going to learn how to do this right. If you just bear with me, maybe I'll write something in the chat here. Say hi from where you are watching from. Hi, Sherry. Kamloops, I know you. Nice to see you. I hope everything's going okay for you. Yeah, very unique situation. So this is fun. So another one of the ways that we hear from spirit is usually you sometimes can hear your name called. Now that's one way that I always hear my name called. Sometimes I'm wondering like who's there. Many times I have actually kind of went hello, because I'll hear my name and then it sounds like I'm hearing it from the outside, but it sometimes feels like it's on the inside as well. However, there's that I don't know if that is actually the number one way to I wouldn't say that was number one, but I do know that it happens, and I know that it happens for me. So I wrote down songs on the radio, butterflies, feathers, repeating numbers, and coins, birds. Birds are one of the oddly signs from spirit that I had thought. Like, for instance, my stepfather died in February, and I'm no word of a lie. I seen a bird that kept coming to my patio, and it was really interesting because the bird actually had, like, he had reddish hair, And he had like this red beard that kind of went down the front of him. And I thought it was quite interesting. And he would fly onto our deck and he would swing on the deck. And I just thought it was just so funny. And so I just started calling him Steve. And he came and he came probably for about 2 months. Sometimes he would just sit on, because the lights actually swing are like kind of like this on my deck. And he would literally sit on those lights and stare in, or he'd sit on the chair and stare in. So I thought that was really interesting. And that was the first time I personally had an animal, I believe, contact me like that. But I mean, I really did feel it was him. And I kept telling my mom. She didn't believe me, but I did keep telling my mom. But I tried to say, no, he keeps coming. He keeps coming every day. And then I yell Steve out the window and we would laugh. And she's like, he's not there. I'm just like, but he is to me. I feel that that's him. And sometimes that makes things feel a little bit better, you know? There's also a lot of things to do with electricity. So sometimes you might feel or see flickering. So flickering of lights, flickering of your phone, vibrating of your phone. I was talking to my mother-in-law just the other day, and she had a friend pass just a couple days prior. And I was on the phone with her, and she says, she came to me in the nighttime and she told me that she had to go home. And I said, oh, well, aren't you lucky to have had that? You know, and she said, you're right, I am. And then, but then when we talked a couple days later, she said that the phone was vibrating. She goes, don't you hear that? And I'm like, no, I don't. She goes, but the phone is actually vibrating. And I'm like, that's Judy. And, but she said, do you think it is? I said, well, does your phone normally vibrate? And then out of the blue, she heard someone say hello, very faint in a woman's voice, and no one is in the house with her. So I thought that was kind of cool. And so did she. But actually, what I'm going to go to a little different, because the couple days before, or the day before Judy passed away, she actually was followed by two orbs, one light pink and one blue. And her orbs were like all in, came in the house with her, were in the kitchen with her, came into her bedroom, and they were flying around in her room. And she was like, she messaged me, my mother-in-law, just asking me like, what is happening? Where I'm seeing orbs. And I said, that's Judy. So I thought that was pretty funny. And then the very next day, Judy actually passed on. So yeah, it was a little bit tough for her, but she said that it's helping her if she watches these kind of shows. So yeah, I think that's really cool that we have the access to this information now. And so it makes us not feel so alone. So more clouds. That's another one I wrote down, was clouds. So when, I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but for me, I've had actual clouds turn into shapes of my loved one that passed away. And that actually did happen to my mother as well with her dog. And I know that a couple weeks back, I was watching a TikTok or a reel, and a guy had his dog had passed away. And hi, Toby. And hi, Sherry. And I know that the dog actually showed itself. I wish I had brought this to show you, because it was really, really cool, because he actually got a snapshot of it in the clouds and it looked identical to his dog. So that's one of the ways that spirit can reach us. And I'm not sure if it's ever been for you, if you've ever had that experience before, then kudos to you. I actually have had that when my ex-husband died. It wasn't actually very pleasant, but I was at the border and I was crossing back into Canada from the United States. And um, I just briefly looked up at the clouds and no word of a lie, his face was in the clouds. And I'm not kidding. And I was in awe. And so in awe, I tried to grab my camera very quickly while I was still looking at it, but it's like it knew I was going to grab my camera and do a shot, and it just disappeared. But I literally fell to tears about that because, oh, cool, you're from Oregon, Toby? Awesome. Um, you're not too far away from us in Vancouver. It's not too far. But yeah, so spirit can show itself in the clouds. And so there's often other ones too, like scents. Oh, I know that there's some people that have actually, um, when they've had a loved one pass over, they have smelt their scent. Also, they have, like, even if someone smokes, they have smelt their smoke linger, even in a house of someone that doesn't smoke, someone will get a whiff of smoke. And that's very interesting to me. I've personally never had that one. Um, no, and I have heard people have it, though. I had just talked to someone. I think we did a podcast last week that I pre-recorded, and they had a full whiff of flowers that just came through their house. And then once everyone said, "What's that smell?" Everybody smelt it, it disappeared on them. So that was very, very interesting. But that personally hasn't happened to me either. What else did I put on my list? So hearing your name called, I think I spoke about that one. Oh, seeing someone's initials all the time. So that's another interesting way that I think I've seen that before, and I'm sure many others have seen these. Like sometimes I used to think maybe I was actually making it happen, to be honest. Was I searching for these things in, because I was sad or I wanted a sign? Was I searching for this? Well, I don't think we're always searching. I think that these things are happening to us because I really don't think that the body dies. I don't feel the soul dies. We're energy. And I think once you're out of this body, I think that you can do so many things. So having said that, um, yeah, I think you could actually see initials on license plates. I remember, just off topic, when I say license plate, I was driving one time and I remember that I seen a license plate whiz by me. And he wanted to get ahead of me, so one car ahead. And his numbers on his license plate were 666. And I remembered that caused me so much anguish when I seen that. Just when I said license plate for you, or to you, it just blew my mind that it caused me that much. That's how I used to be, and now things like that don't bother me any longer. I have a totally different insight into how I believe in the numbers and how I believe in spirit and source, and that we're just energy and we're also human here having a human experience, but or a spirit here having a human experience. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. Life for myself has been pretty interesting, and I would absolutely love to hear um, others, like what they think about life. And how they look at it through a different lens, you know. Yeah, it's very interesting. Today, I should talk about today at noon, um, PST time. I have my ND, or from 3 to NDE dropping today. So that is my lifetime story. And that's going to basically tell you from the age I was 3 years old to, well, now, basically. So it goes right into 2025, and a little bit more in depth than my first one. So it kind of goes back into my background and talks to you about, or tells you about, all the little things that I had gone through. So I'm very excited for that. Um, but yeah, I'm really happy that you came in and you said hello. And thanks for putting up with my first podcast, or my first live stream, because it feels so strange to be talking to yourself. I don't know, but I'm doing it and I faced that fear. So I'm happy that I did that. And I think that I'm going to be doing this hopefully. Oh, no, next Saturday I will not be here because I have a family engagement that I will be going to. But the following Saturday I'll be here. But after that, it will be every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. If you want to join me for coffee or tea and bring your favorite mug, I'd really like to start a tradition within my MJ in the mornings. I'd like to actually have pictures of everyone's mug. Even if they took a snapshot and send it to me or tagged me, I'd love to be able to make a collage of all the mugs, and then kind of put it out in the community posts and things like that. So I just thought I'd make it something a little bit more interactive. Um, but today, that is going to be all for me for this live. I hope that this was interesting, at least in a bit for you. Yeah, I'm not got the hang of it yet, but here I go. And next time will be a little bit better. And I really appreciate you being here. And I really hope to see you in the next one. And if you're watching this on the replay, I appreciate you, and I really appreciate your time and spending time with me. And I hope you have a good weekend. And cheers to you. See you in the next one.